So guys, a lot is happening right now because after Wike had a fight or after he had a clash with another officer, a major petition has just landed on the decks of the Chief Justice of Nigeria calling for the suspension of the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, from the prestigious body of benchers. So what does that mean? The body of benchers is the highest legal authority that controls the conduct of lawyers in Nigeria. If someone is suspended from this body, it is not a small matter. It means they are being removed from the council that sets the standard, ethics, and discipline for the entire legal profession. So they are sure that Wike should be removed or suspended from this body. Such a suspension carries a heavy consequences, loss of influence, damage to reputation, and automatic investigation of alleged misconduct. The petition comes shortly after Wike's controversial confrontation with a naval officer, which sparked nationwide reactions and raised questions about his conduct. So the big question there is, will the Chief Justice act on the petition? Will Wike face disciplinary action from the highest level council in the country? We are following this story closely. Stay tuned as we unfold what this is going to bring, because right now this is a serious issue, serious matter on the decks of the CGN of Nigeria. That is to know, the main question is, are they going to carry out an investigation and make sure that Wike is being suspended from the body of those that make laws? Because from this headline, it says that Chief Justice of Nigeria petitioned to suspend FCT Minister Wike from body of benchers over dishonorable conduct with naval officer. So it's because of what happened. We know Wike was calling that naval officer, "You're a fool. You are this one. You're a fool. Who are you? Do you know who I am?" So all these things are what brought that they want to suspend him, because they say that they cannot condone such behavior. How can Wike be a member of such high caliber post or member or group, and then Wike have the mind publicly to be insulting a naval officer, not even a roadside officer, naval officer? So this is what is happening right now. Like I said, stay tuned on my channel. If you're new to my channel, you can subscribe. So guys, watch this video to the end, and I'm going to use in the comment section.
Let's look at the deployment of the troops there, headed by the naval lieutenant. I understand, from what has transpired, the naval officer was deployed there by the owner of the property, who happens to be the immediate past chief of naval staff, to prevent access to the property from the authorities of the FCDA, in this case the Development Control, and they had reasons to try to see how they could stop work going on there. And the naval officer, the chief of naval officer, retired, decided to prevent that from happening, and sent this young man, naval lieutenant, to prevent access to the property. And from what also we got to know was that the property in question was acquired illegal, according to the officials of the FCDA. So that the Development Control, which is the outfit of the FCDA responsible for enforcing development of projects, approving and enforcing illegal, stopping illegal development of projects, went there to try to enforce the order of the FCT minister to stop work on the project. So of course, they were prevented the first time they got there. And then of course the minister, who has the overall responsibility, went there to try and see how he could, with his bulldozers and everything, to go and see how they could effect that action, and then met the officer. Now, many people have said that the officer should not have been there because it was a matter of dispute, and is trying to obstruct administrative compliance with development control of property development in the FCT, which is purview of development control of FCT. So, but then there's also the allegations that some of these activities by FCT and FCDA, especially the FCT minister, has been that, frequently he has had to, revoke duly approved land and property, and then reallocate those properties, not for public use, but to private interests. So perhaps maybe the chief of naval staff retired, felt that, look, this can happen to me. I acquired this legally, and I have a right to develop it. And I'm not going to allow myself to be a victim of what has happened before. And so that set the stage for what happened. It's unfortunate because on the part of the minister, it's indecorous of him really, because he had all the necessary, access to the authorities. He's in a peer level with the chief of naval staff, with the chief of defense staff, with his fellow ministers, Minister of Defense and Minister of State Defense. You can escalate the matter to those gentlemen, to those personalities, and have this resolved. He could make his case and say, look, hey, I've seen this and I think I'm going to intervene. This gentleman is not complying, so this is what I want to do. And of course, so a lot of things happened. It was not really, it didn't cover him, in good light for him to go to that level. Yes, he has a right as a minister procedurally. Yes, he has a right as a minister to go out and check what's happening to ensure that things are done the right way by his, the responsibility of his office. But he didn't have to go that low. If he came to that place and saw an officer and a complement of soldiers, all he needed to do was to ask questions. Why are you here? And if they said, look, we're here on orders. Who sent you? Turn around. But he went to that level, going to the level of exchanging words with a young officer, young even, as he admitted, young enough to even be his son. And that was quite inappropriate. And that's, so I think the minister should be censured for what he has done. Now, that's not to say that he didn't have the right and responsibility to go and inspect things within the Federal Capital Territory, but the level to which he has sunk did not do good to himself, to the ministry, and to the entire country, to the president.
I was almost going there to ask whether the minister should face disciplinary action for threatening a military officer, and what are the implications for civilian-military relations?
I think in this case, in most cases, it's always the soldiers that are always being censured for behaviors of this nature. Most times we hear soldiers are the ones, or the military ones are the ones who take the law into their own hands, especially in matters that are supposed to be handled at a very high level. You hear soldiers, beating up people, assaulting people, and then behaving in a manner that's incompatible with their status. But in this case, it is a minister, a highly placed minister, a senior minister, the man who is supposed to be the eye of Nigeria on the world, because he hosts the government, he hosts the diplomatic community, he is the eye of Nigeria. And then to behave in that manner, that's unbecoming. I think it's about time President Tinubu took action against Wike. He has serially misbehaved. I don't want to withdraw that word. He has serially misbehaved. It has come to the point of normality for him to misbehave on matters of this nature. And that is unacceptable. It should be told to him, no matter what he's doing with Tinubu, no matter what usefulness he has for Tinubu, it cannot be at the expense of the image. It cannot be at the expense of the image of Nigeria, at the expense of that ministry, which is supposed to be one of the most important ministries. And that really, we're looking to see Tinubu finally take action on him. Whatever action he wants to take must be commensurate with the type of infraction he committed on that occasion.
You see, some people are saying, military did this. Some people are saying, military should have done this. And the military are also reacting. So what do you think?
What I said earlier on was that, look, we have had the situation we have in this country, normal situation we have in this country is that the military are always the ones culpable when you have military-civilian issues. And this has led the military, I'm not speaking for them anyway, to set up military-civilian sections where they can handle some of these issues, so that, when matters of this nature come up, that outfit can handle the issue. But in this case, it's a minister, a civilian minister, that has gone to actually, almost what I say, assault a military man. And you could see that, if you take a sample of opinions of Nigerians, you find that a lot of people, in fact, over 3/4 of respondents feel that it was we're hard against the minister. So it's a reverse situation now. Many more Nigerians feel more sympathy aligned with the military than with the civilian minister. So it's a dangerous development really, because now it is engendering a situation of civilian ministers, democratic civilian ministers appointed by the democratic system, being rough-shouldered, shut aside by the people who ordinarily are supposed to censure the military for being involved. Normally it's the military that is supposed to be censured by the people of Nigeria, but in this case, overwhelmingly, Nigerians are coming hard on the side of the military. And that is why President Tinubu must be very, very careful, because for the statements that came from top military officers retired, and the seeming calm from the military authorities, there's a danger in that, and that President Tinubu must not be seen to be riding, taking this matter with levity, as he has done in the past with Wike, because Wike has behaved in manner on several occasions that does not portray him as in consonance with democratic principles, with democratic temperament. And that is very dangerous to the government, to the President Tinubu himself, because some of the statements emanating from the military chaps, retired military figures, are dangerous, and we should not allow that to happen. Whatever needs to be done to rein in Wike should be done. That punishment or that censure rests with the president. But this is one incident too many on the part of Wike. He seems to take it as normal to behave in such a manner, and he must be called to question. Otherwise, the consequences of such continued behavior will not be good for the party, for the country, will not be good for President Tinubu himself and the country generally.
Former Chief of Army Staff Tuko Burutai said that Wike's action seriously undermined national security. Is it justified in that comment, or do you think it's a military overreach?
I don't think so. I mean, the military have, a hierarchy of behavior, discipline, loyalty, and respect to authorities. And that what everybody is saying about Wike's behavior is that by behaving the way he behaved, he did not show regard and respect to the uniform. Once he saw the young man out there in uniform, which is with a complement of his people around him, no matter the situation, he shouldn't have gone down to that level of exchanging words. He should have respected the uniform, because the uniform represents an institution, which is the military, and the military is headed by Mr. President. So, and that gentleman, that young man, is on presidential commission. He's a commission officer. Take that. It's a commission officer. He must be respected by virtue of that. Whoever deployed him there at that point is a matter to be taken up by authorities. Why did you deploy him there? What is he doing guarding, private property? These are questions that have been taken. But by coming out there to behave in that manner, calling him a fool, using expletives and behaving in that manner, no, that's unacceptable. Wike must be made to pay for this action.
All right, and interestingly again, he has come out to say that the land in question was properly allocated to Santos Estates for park and recreation. So after all the noise and the land is duly allocated, what does it reveal about respect for the rule of law in Nigeria?
Well, Wike himself is not even a respecter of rule of law. We've seen instances where he himself have gone against, court judgments, against even, advice from well-placed individuals in Rivers State. I lived in Rivers State. I know that. And he behaves as if, the law or whatever, the law, the institutions of law or institutions of government or governance must bow to him instead of the other way around. We can't have that. We can't have that in this country. If you have sworn by the Constitution, and as a lawyer for that matter, you should behave in a manner that shows that you are a leader and you are an exemplar of rule of law, rules-based system. That's what we are running. That's why we said no, we didn't want the soldiers to be ruling us, but civilians elected by us, civilians that are answerable to us. We should not be answerable to you. Your behavior you must temper your behavior to the needs of the people, to the needs of the Constitution, to the needs of the laws of the land. You are not the law. You are a servant of the law. You observe what the law says, not make the law. You are not making the law. Even the Senate President cannot be above the law, even though he presides over the institution that makes the law. He is subject to the law. And Wike must be told that he must not, whatever he owes, whatever Tinubu, owes him, whatever he's doing for Tinubu does not remove from the fact that he must do it within Constitution, within the laws of the land. And that behavior is unacceptable. It's irresponsible on his part, really. And it must be told to him in clear terms that this is not acceptable. And if the President Tinubu, who has the right, who has the authority to put him and tell him the right things, does not do it, then he's fostering a situation whereby we are endangering democracy. And I believe that's what Buratai and other, not just Buratai, but even General Irabo and other officers have said. And the silence of other officers too says a lot. Because maybe these two gentlemen, these two generals were asked by their colleagues to say, look, speak on our behalf. Interestingly, these are the two immediate pastors, two chief of defense staffs that during Buhari, and this one was chief of army staff. And it must be clearly stated that Tinubu keeping quiet on this matter is dangerous. It's very, very dangerous, and it must be told to him in clear terms that the idea of looking the other way and hoping that the matter will go, and then tomorrow another thing happens because Wike is important to you in one way or the other. That is not. He's important to you, but if he's going against the constitution and the rule of law, then we have a right as Nigerians to call you to order, because he is serving at the pleasure of Nigerians. He is not. Nigerians should not bow to him. He must follow wherever he has the right to observe or to do his duties. It must be done in a manner that is consistent with democratic principles. It must be done in a manner that is consistent with decorum and respect for the office he occupies. This is not an office that you just behave as if you want. No, you must observe that decorum that is required for the office you occupy.
Probably does this action, somebody, the former governorship candidate in Rivers State, Doyenko, sued Wike for 40.5 billion naira for defamation, claiming that Wike defamed him by making false, malicious, and offensive statements about him during a live interview sometime in September. And he said that the statement portrayed him as a thief who diverted and sold Rivers State gas assets at an undervalued rate.
Well, I'm not aware that the case has been vacated or has been, tried and concluded. So whatever I have to say there, perhaps might be sub judice. But I would say that it's one example of Wike's recklessness. He has set a score for being reckless with his statements, with his activities, and with his, this, typical of what happened the other day. Wike believes because he's, the president is beholden to him. I think that what gives him that. So he can act and with impunity, and because if anything happens to him, because he's so important to Mr. President, that's what he thinks, and that's perhaps what Mr. President also thinks. I cannot let him go because of Wike. For instance, the democratic, procedure in Rivers State was suspended. Most of what happened, the reasons that happened, the main reason that happened that precipitated what happened in Rivers State was actually due to the making of Wike, and the democratic structures of Rivers State was brought down. Wike, who was also partly responsible for that, was not censured. And you saw what happened. Democratic practice in Rivers State was suspended for 6 months. All because the president wants to please Wike for one reason or the other. Best known to the two of them. But Nigeria cannot have that. You could see that failure to rein Wike at that point has now morphed into what has happened a couple of days ago. And God knows what's going to happen. He has succeeded in practically, destroying a political party, a foundational political party. The tradition of PDP is the tradition of MPC, MPN, NRC, right up to PDP. It's actually the party of Nigeria. I'm not speaking for them, but I'm just looking at the chronology of politics in Nigeria. All because it's part of the plan for the success of Mr. President, allegedly. But now, we are seeing the danger of what, a loose cannon. Because now that the soldiers are beginning to talk, and Nigerians are actually supporting the soldiers, that portends danger. And if it means getting rid of Wike and say, look, hey, guy, go and cool your heels in order to save our democracy, it's better than to say, we're going to keep Wike because he's going to help us win elections, he's going to stop. That is not acceptable. That is too simple-minded. Wike cannot be, our democracy cannot be sacrificed because of Wike. Unless, of course, there's a sinister motive behind it. It must be said in clear terms, Nigerians must stand up and say, look, we fought for this democracy. Some people lost their lives. And it's not one person that should be the beneficiary. It's not for the benefit of one person that this democracy was gotten. We need to say that, look, this democracy must endure. And if we have to make examples of people who are trying to derail this democracy by their own misbehaviors, we must make that point. Because it's for the good of all, not for the good of one or two people. That must be stated clearly. The nation must rise up to say that. That whatever Wike is doing with you, Mr. President, that's your business. Our own business is to sustain this democracy. We've gotten to the point whereby there are rumblings, there are discussions, there are coded statements. And we don't want that to happen. We don't want to wake up and tomorrow we find. That's what Borate was saying, and Irabo and a few other people. Some have not even said anything, but they're keeping to their minds. And it's dangerous. Very, very dangerous to this country. We should not behave as if, well, I'm here, I'm there, so whatever it is, let them talk. It's not. It's not on. It's not on.
Supposing Mr. President does not really know Wike, as we've seen severally, when you talk about Wike, one or two times, okay, I think once I can remember he did a media chat, and they tried to ask him question about Wike and say, oh, Wike is doing very well. Supposing he does not really know him, what happens?
Well, he should. He should be concerned, because if a matter of this nature happened, and the top military brass have come out to say, some people have not come out to say anything because of the sensitivity of their offices, but you know the way the military works. The military works like a herd. They move in one direction. And I can tell you the military is not happy with what has happened. And the military, some of the people who are supposed to speak for the military have come out to say, look, something must be done. He must be reined in. He must be told, especially particularly this incident involving this naval young man. It must be the threshold point where Mr. President should now do something about Wike. We are not begging him. Nigerians are not begging him. They are telling him, for the sake of democracy that we are practicing, Wike is taking much more than he can chew.
So that headline have raised numerous reactions, because from X handle, people are reacting, saying, this one said, you want the judges to sanction the same Wike that has protected their interests by building houses for them. That is future impossible things. Someone said, beautiful, even though we know there are worse people on that bench, we will take this win. Even though we know Wike practically owns the judiciary, the petition alone is a win. Someone else said, that won't happen. Wike that is building houses for them. Another one said, they should sanction Wike that is building houses for them. They play. You cannot write petition to get Gumi arrested for sponsoring terrorists and bandits. You see political tribalism in our country. Because we know Gumi have come out publicly to say that those bandits are their brother and their sons. But none of them have written petition against arresting him or sanctioning him. None of them have even said anything about it. All of them kept mute. But in this one, I wrote a petition against somebody that they know is not possible, because we all know that Wike have built houses for them. There are proofs. Go and verify. So someone said, I hope this demand will be looked into and action taken. Someone said, since last week I've been enjoying myself. Now he's receiving his left, right, and center. Okay, now he's receiving it right, left, and center. No peace for the wicked. Someone else said, do we have law that works in this country? Because me and you know that this same week is going to go scot-free with this as action. And then tomorrow, if somebody does the same thing, they come to arrest the person. Because how can they be arresting illegal boys, but out of the people that are busy looting money in government that have been exposed by the AFCC, what have been done to them? Nothing has been done to them. So that's a pure evidence that in Nigeria today, the rich or the elite can get away with anything, but the poor cannot get away with everything. Someone said, very funny, you petition Wike to Wike. Another person said, could this case spark broader calls for public official accountability or revisions to how legal professionals affiliated with government conduct themselves? Because this is a very critical case. If this should go unpunished, then we can conclude that Nigeria does not have any law that works in Nigeria. So guys, let me get your views in the comment section. I will be with you guys in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe. I will see you guys.